welcome to my channel. Well, you may or may not have noticed I haven't made very many videos lately. It's just the holidays, basically taking a break. When I worked for Intel Corporation, if you worked there for 7 years, which I worked there for 12 years, every 7 years you would get what they called a sabbatical. And it would be, you'd still get your same pay, but you would get 30 days, 1 month off. And they encouraged you, to take the time off, because it was a high-tech, high-stress kind of environment, because you were working around very expensive stuff. One cartridge, you're always loading these things up in cartridges of like 25 wafers, silicone wafers, and they were like disc, depending on the size. We were working with 8-inch wafers, but they got up to 12-inch and stuff like that later on. And when I was working there, that you could hand carry them, but you were carrying over $1 million worth of basically like eggs. They were as fragile as eggs. If you dropped them, that whole cassette was ruined, even if it didn't shatter. And they break like glass. There was a big cleanup you would have to do because you're in a contaminated area. And I worked in all the different operations in there. Started off as an equipment tech, but I switched to an operator to get an idea of how the operators, what they're actually running. And then I went back to being an equipment tech, and I was working on scanning electron microscopes and lithography machines. And, you get certification levels as you go up, and it was a pretty good company. Even though it was so big, like I said, they kind of acted like a small company would, as far as like relationships between employees and management and stuff. It was all kind of like we're all one team together and stuff. It was pretty good. But in the end, Intel decided to switch all of shut down our factory. Instead of upgrading and everything else, they moved production to China. Now they got a bill where they're building all this stuff back up, and they're bringing it back here. But the reason why they did that is because it was profitable for them. So once again, all these people that say buy American, it depends upon the management and the corporations and everything else, because Intel's an American company and everything, but when you go to China, the Chinese require you to surrender your intellectual property rights to stuff, and you have a choice. You not work with them or give up your property rights. So a lot of dumb things happen. So people that go with these mantras of only buy American because of it depends upon the management. You can do everything right, and still your company can sell stuff out from underneath your feet. So just don't blindly follow a lot of mantras is what I'm trying to say. But anyways, what I'm getting off on about is I finally got the mail off done. I was basically taking a break from all we get is bad news lately of everything. There's going to be wars and pandemics and food shortages and inflation and monetary collapse and population explosions and climate change, blah, blah. Everything is just like, even if you try not to watch the news and stuff like that, you'll still get it. You'll still hear this stuff. It just pops up. So I basically just stepped away a little bit. Not so much in the knife world that there's a bunch of big issues going on or anything like that. It's just I wanted to just take a pause a little bit, and I'll get back into it. But the thing is, I finally got Stacy's winnings sent off to her. It's gonna arrive there sometime soon. She already had a kudu, and I believe it got her the one that she had got her and cut her fairly badly. So I can understand. She didn't want, she said she would like, so this is going to be donated. In the next giveaway, this is going to be one of the things that will be included, is this very same kudu that was in the last one. So thank you, Stacy, for that. I threw in another knife for her in there. This one still has that strong back spring on it, so you're going to have to work on that, whoever gets that. Just be aware. But we will do another giveaway in January. I kept thinking about also doing, this is kind of a channel update, what's happening. I was also thinking about doing the best knives, you know, of each different class of 2022 and stuff, you know, going through all that. And man, there was just so many. Thank you, Toby and family, and everyone else who sent knives into me. But I mean, this year was really a massive increase year of knives coming in for me to look at and to review and everything else like that. And to pick a favorite out of that one, it's always hard for me to pick a favorite out of anything. I was just like Bowie knives, you know, I'd sit there and I'd say, well, I wouldn't want to say I would just want to have this one when I would want to have this one and this one and this one. And you try and narrow it down, and if you say, well, oh, just pick the top 5 of each class. Well, what about number 6? What if number 6 is actually just as good as number 5? You know, and that's what I get with this stuff, is I can't narrow it down. That's why I'm a collector. That's why I got more than one knife. I have a problem always with it. If you could only pick one Barlow, if you could only pick one flashlight, if you could only pick one... Hey, I've been in situations where I had to, of all my possessions, you know, like an entire house and everything, pick what you had to pick that you wanted to keep. And it had to be able to fit into a Jeep or a trailer that could tow behind a Jeep, which wasn't very big. I've been through that situation before. So, yeah, it's no fun. It's no fun trying to narrow that stuff down. And you know what? And in all these situations, like, if you could choose between, in a survival situation, you don't get to choose. It's whatever pops up. It's whatever you had nearby. It's whatever you were there. So the whole thing of, well, I would pick this one knife. If I had a choice, this would be my one knife that I want to... It's never going to come down to that in those situations. That's going to be at home, or it's going to be away from you, and you're not going to have your favorite knife. You're going to have to make do with your less than favorite knife, you know? Or, oh, I'm not going to practice any other fire making method because a Bic lighter always works for me. Fine. What happens, you know, we tend to forget a lot of these things. People, I don't want to dive deeply into bushcraft stuff, but those are good skills to know, because what do you rely on when you have a Bic lighter? You rely on someone else manufacturing your fire for you. If they run out of manufacturing that stuff, I know it's hard to imagine anything as common as a Bic lighter not being available, or matches, or anything like that. But if you ever got into a situation where none of those things were available, but other means of making a fire were, what's separating you from life and death? Knowledge. It's what you know. And it's not just like what you've read, it's what you've practiced. Because what we used to call in the military on-the-job training. Sometimes that was just like, here, you figure it out. You know, here's what we've got here. You figure it out. It really wasn't training at all. It was just like muddle through it. So anyways, what I'm trying to say is, you can prepare as much as you want for whatever's going to happen, but the best thing to do is to be adaptable. I mean, to get as much knowledge as you can about whatever you think you might need to do on your own. And the rest of it is, don't worry about it. I mean, I'm saying this more for myself than anybody else, but it's like the Boy Scout motto, whatever, always be prepared. You can be prepared as much as you can, and then after that, just chill out and don't stress too much. Whatever's going to happen is going to happen. Whatever's beyond, you know, a lot of this stuff is beyond our control. So whatever's beyond your control, you could be concerned about it, but there's absolutely nothing you can do to change the outcome of something like, a deep freeze that comes through and freezes everything. You weren't expecting that, were you? Well, if you were expecting it, then you get through it. But if you weren't expecting it, the whole thing behind preparedness, I think, is just to make your life easier when the excrement hits the twirling oscillator, because when situations like that happen, nobody is going to be prepared as prepared as you could be for anything. And to get caught up and to think that you've got to do all this stuff right away, or, it's like the sword of Damocles, that thing, where it's always hanging over their head, and it's about to drop, and it's going to cut, and just living in fear and impending doom and everything just saps the joy out of your life, So what I do to do this is a lot of times I stop watching the news. I try to watch comedies or something else like that, or in my case, I'll play video games where I'll just go out and attack robots, artificial intelligence fighting against the machine, and walking, because sometimes you can get it's hard to do that when it's sub-zero temperatures. Right now it's weird. The temperature got down to 12 degrees. That was without wind chill. There was a bunch of wind chill going on. It was negative something. I just stayed inside and luckily had, I bought some fire logs before it was going to hit. But you can't do it a lot. But if you walk around a lot of times, it changes your perspective of things. Get some daylight and everything. But anyway, this whole rambling, ranting thing is basically saying that I will get back to doing more videos and stuff like that. Right now, it's a transition time. I am going to get a Social Security Administration raise, but it's going to land late. Like it depends on your birthday and everything, but it's going to land late this time. And so basically nothing. I've taken care of every obligation right now. I don't have anything that's due. I'm good on that, but I don't have spare money to buy anything right now, because also with YouTube and with the stuff, you've got to make $100 each month or they won't pay you, and it hasn't happened every month that they paid me. So that'll give you kind of an idea when you've got low subscriber counts or low views or whatever. And I don't run a lot of lives and stuff like that. So your opportunities for stuff is just basically based on the ads or whatever that people are watching or not watching. And so anyways, I'm not complaining or anything. I'm just telling you what's happening. Is that I'm bumping the camera. Peppy's not depressed. You can look at Peppy, and no matter what's going on, he's got a smile on his face, and he's wide-eyed. He's not like nodding off. Sometimes he does nod off, but he's happy. Anyways, there you go. That's just basically a heads up. What's been going on with me, what's happening, and what my plans are and stuff. Basically, and everything's. I'm still gonna do one giveaway a month. And I haven't picked what January's giveaway is going to be yet, because I just haven't looked at it lately, but I'll be getting back into it. Anyways, the dinosaurs are doing well. There hasn't been a whole lot. Skeleton's still chilling over there. He works too hard. He's worked himself to the bone. So, anyways, I hope everyone's doing well and enjoying the holidays, and it's soon to be 2023. This is I'm filming this like New Year's Eve. So, thank you for watching, and have a nice day.